Surprise, surprise. Oklahoma made the playoffs and they went straight downhill and got trounced. Boy, I was stupid for picking Oklahoma to win that game, but Alabama does come out with the win. It will be Alabama and Indiana facing off in the second round of the college football playoffs. Welcome into the Big Ten Huddle. I'm your host JR, joined here by Zach Guggenheim to talk through our instant reactions to the Alabama-Oklahoma game and also kind of what we see coming up in the Alabama-Indiana game in round two of the college football playoffs. Zach, was it just me or was this a football game by apparently the deepest conference in all of college football that looked like worse than Iowa and Rutgers in week four? And that's not to, degrade Iowa and Rutgers in week four. That was a good game. These two teams just played terribly tonight.
Yeah, I just tweeted this probably about 5 minutes ago that Oklahoma basically imploded midway through the second quarter and beyond, and just special teams was a disaster. Missing Lou Groza Award winning kicker misses the kick at the end of the game that could have made it a one-score game.
They still lose even if he makes that, right?
Yeah. I mean, the game was over, but I mean, it just capped off what had been happening all night, which is bad tackling. Mateer, my gosh, he has no feel. I mean, their best play was quarterback draw, which is not a good play.
Their best play, Zach, was when Alabama's secondary decided, hey, there's a guy downfield and we don't want to cover him. Yes, and Mateer said, "Oh, thank you. This was gift wrapped to me, and all I have to do is toss this over here." And
but even then, he couldn't do it. He couldn't he airmailed the one where he had a wide open receiver, and I mean,
he threw the one that was like a little low, but it was a running back down the field, so he drops it. I mean, that was the sequence when you had the drop pass downfield, the dropped punt, and I had to specify this on Twitter. No, not a dropped punt return, a dropped punt. He did not connect with his foot by dropping the ball. The Oklahoma punter did. I mean, Oklahoma would they need LeVar Woods right now. More than Michigan State does. I mean, congratulations, Michigan State. That's a great hire. Oklahoma needs him.
Oklahoma needs a lot. I've been saying it since Brent Venables got hired. Great defensive coordinator. But I think he's a career coordinator, because that defense, when properly coached, is nasty. But even tonight, and you're going to see the 34 and you're going to be like, oh yeah, Oklahoma's defense, they puckered. Not really. They held Alabama to 260 yards. They held Alabama's running attack to like 30 or 50 something. It was something absurd. I have the stats up here. It was 29 yards, 1.2 yards per carry. So the defense was good, but I mentioned it in our preview. I thought if Alabama was, had 2 turnovers or less, they'd win the ball game, because Alabama is the better team. Not only did they not commit a turnover, but they forced a turnover from Mateer. Again, a terrible decision by Mateer, but a good play by, I believe it was it Tavian Brown who made that play?
Yeah, I mean, it's opportunistic, right? I mean, that's what we talk about all the time. You have to rely on a bad play by the other team sometimes, but when they make that bad play, you have to be opportunistic and make the play and return and give Alabama their credit. That's what they did. And I think that's kind of the thing that Alabama's going to have to rely on. You tell me if I'm wrong or not here, but facing Indiana, they're going to have to rely on Indiana making a lot of these mistakes that Oklahoma did. I'd be honest though, Zach. I mean, to me, Indiana has the best coaching staff in all of college football. If not best, it's second best, and it's very, very close. They have the best or second best coaching staff in all of college football right now. I don't see Indiana making a lot of these same mistakes that Oklahoma made in this game.
I think to your point, I think the key of whether Alabama can pull the upset against the Hoosiers in 10 days, 11 days, however long we are from New Year's Day. It's, can Ty Simpson crack the code of Indiana's defense like he did tonight against OU's? Because if you saw him in the first half, I mean, he was shaken. he was, I mean, did not look comfortable in the pocket. And then I think they went, to a little bit of a sugar huddle, which is kind of the book out on Venables, right? Like if you can speed up, vary your tempo, kind of hide your signs, right? Because Brent Venables does it legally.
They
But
got Connor Stallions, Zach.
no, no,
Breaking
no,
news.
no, no, legal, legal.
But could you imagine the duo of Connor Stallions and Brent Venables?
I'm pretty sure Venables would like throw him out a window at some point. It,
Probably get out of here, nerd.
be like, who are you?
I'm
I do
sorry,
this.
I've derailed the conversation. Go ahead
Yes.
with the
Um,
smart football talk that you were talking about.
yeah. Well, this is maybe my main takeaway from Alabama. In the second half, well, let me backtrack. So college football nerds, I love them. They're great. First half, when Bama came back and tied it up, they were like, "This is why Bama's in the playoff because they can turn it on at any minute." And I was like, "That was not good, Bama. That was bad, Oklahoma. Like, let's be clear. Second half was good, Alabama, and it was really good, Ty Simpson. And that's where I would be concerned. And then I think on the flip side of that, Keon Keeley, I mean, he was making some plays, freshman. He was really coming on. There's a couple other pass rushers for Alabama that if you're Indiana, you're like, that could be tough, especially, with Ty Simpson, Stephen Daly being out. That defense is really well coached. So I mean, I know they're gonna be ready to go. Haynes is gonna have those boys ready to play. But if Ty Simpson is confident again, I think that makes this a more challenging matchup. I'll finish my thought by saying this. If I were an Indiana fan, I would have wanted Oklahoma because I agree with college football nerds that Alabama has the higher ceiling out of these two teams. And I think if you got Oklahoma, like Indiana would have wiped the floor with Oklahoma, like just no doubt. Alabama, I still think Indiana is the favorite. They should be the favorite, but like I think if you get confident Ty Simpson, I think that could create a more compelling matchup at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna see a better team in Alabama when they're on. Oklahoma is just not on all that much, right? That's the issue with them. Although, yes, Alabama did improve in the second half, you also saw virtually no pass rush from Oklahoma. If you're gonna
Mhm.
not pressure Ty Simpson's gonna pick you apart. I don't think
Right.
this has been a secret about Ty Simpson all season long. You don't get a pass rush on him, and he picks you apart. It's kind of been what it is. But when you saw Ty Simpson flushed, going out of the pocket, having pressure on him, he was a whole lot less accurate. And you combine that accuracy with wide receivers that can't drop open, can't catch open balls down the field, or a tight end who's sitting out in the flat all by himself and can't catch a ball, then you have a really, really bad Alabama offense there. So the most important thing for Indiana, which it sucks because you've lost Stephen Daly, but you still have a really good interior defensive line and you still have really good linebackers for
Right.
this Indiana team. I stand by what I said, when the injury first happened. If nothing, like I understand losing Stephen Daly sucks. Okay, I'm not trying to make this sound like it's okay or anything like that, but I do think it provides the opportunity for Indiana to get their three linebackers out there who are probably the three best linebackers on a single team in the country this season more often, even if a team tries to spread them out. Because I think Alabama's going to try to do that to this Indiana team. I don't think they're going to let Indiana have all three of those linebackers out there. But without Stephen Daly, maybe you move Isaiah Jones down there to the edge or something like that. Obviously, they don't have the size of Stephen Daly does, but maybe you can supplement that with some other defensive linemen in there. As we know, the defensive line room for Indiana is pretty deep. And the biggest thing you have to do is get pressure on Ty Simpson. Fernando Mendoza is going to be able to throw the ball down the field on this Alabama team. Zach, I, was it just me, or was it like every single time Mateer threw the ball down the field, it was either like this is a terrible throw, or holy crap, the dude is wide open and Alabama can't tackle. Um, it was putrid, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought Mateer often escaped the pocket early.
Yeah.
And granted, it's especially in the second half, Oklahoma's offensive line got overwhelmed, which is
Hmm.
not surprising, right? They've been overwhelmed all
And
season
they're a
long.
young offensive line. They've got,
Yeah.
I think, one or two freshmen on that offensive line. Yeah.
Yeah, they said 3 on the broadcast.
Okay,
Two
three.
true 2 true freshmen and 1
That's
red
what it was.
shirt.
Too true. Okay, go ahead.
Um, but yeah, and you're absolutely right. Um, but I thought Mateer, and this has been the case with Mateer all season, right? He's very feast or famine. He'll hit like the big wow play, and then he will miss the routine. And
Hmm.
part of that is even in his fundamentals, right? He kept escaping the pocket. Someone pointed that on Twitter, and I thought that was a really insightful observation. Mendoza doesn't leave the pocket early, and he'll escape. He'll escape up the middle. And I think that is an aspect of Alabama's defense that's vulnerable. And then you have receivers who may not be as athletic, but they're catching everything that's thrown to them. And you're going to have a healthy Omar Cooper. You're still going to have to deal with that back shoulder fade game, which Indiana's just elite at.
Hmm.
They're so good at it, and they beat everybody with it. And so I do think I think Indiana will be able to score. I don't know if it'll be if I had to pick this game right now, I'd probably pick Hoosiers by a touchdown. Because I do think Alabama could give them some trouble. But I also think Indiana with the rest is going to get some guys healthy. I do think Mendoza is going to make things a little bit more difficult. He's certainly the best quarterback that Alabama has faced all season.
I could see it being a touchdown game in the third quarter or something like that, but I do think eventually Indiana pulls ahead in Alabama. If they get down by 17 points against Indiana, Indiana's not going to let this team come back and score 27 straight like Oklahoma did. They're too well coached of a team. They're too disciplined of a team. Some of the mistakes, penalties and stuff like that that Oklahoma was making, it wasn't just the special teams miscues. They were terrible penalties, mistakes. What was it? The penalty on Oklahoma when Bernard dropped the ball all the way
Oh yeah,
downfield and they got a first down. Like just some of
yeah.
the stupid
That's a good
mistakes
point.
that Oklahoma made in this game. I don't see Indiana making, even if Alabama plays at their best all game long. I think they can hang with Indiana, so I think it could be a close to kind of touchdown game. But I just don't think we're going to see good Alabama for the entire game. And I think Indiana probably, pulls away and wins this game by 10, 17 points, somewhere in that range. So if I'm giving like an early score prediction in this one, and this is very early on, we'll do a full preview on it later on. I'd say my early score prediction is like 31-17 Indiana in this one. Because I don't see Alabama putting together a full game that is going to keep it close with Indiana. If they do, then I'm with you. Touchdown win for Indiana. But I've just not seen Alabama put together, full games this entire season, pretty much ever since October.
Yeah, I my only pushback would be I do think they were much more sound in the second half, I thought. Like your point about the drop is noted. Um, but I think aside from that, they played a much
On
cleaner
offense, they
half
did.
on
On
offense.
offense, they
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
And they had
And
a better pass rush in the second half, but that secondary still had a lot of issues in the second half.
yeah. Yeah.
So,
If I think it'll be very problematic for Alabama if they can't stop the run and if they can't get pressure on Mendoza. Like if those two, your scenario plays out if they can't get home and if they can't stop the run. That's the thing that was striking about both these teams. Like neither of them are averaging more than like 110 or 120 yards rushing per game. And when we criticize like Ohio State or other teams for not being able to run the ball, these cats can't run. Like Alabama, I think had 1,500 yards for the season over 13 games. Oklahoma had like 1,400. Neither of them think a rusher over 500 yards. So they're facing one of the most dynamic rushing attacks, in the country. But what have we said about Indiana's rushing attack? And this is where I think this will be an interesting data point to watch. Against tougher competition, Indiana's rushing offense goes down. Iowa, Penn State, Ohio State, even although they had a couple of really good runs in that game. So it'll be interesting to see I think a litmus test early in this game is how is Indiana running the ball? Because if they're able to run at will, I don't think it's a touchdown game. I think it's 2-3 scores, like you're saying. But I think if Alabama's able to offer some resistance and get their pass rush going, it's going to be a closer game.
Yeah, and I think like I said after the Ohio State game, did Indiana run the ball all over Ohio State? No, they did not. What did Indiana do? They got timely runs and they were able to have a good success rate and move the ball enough. It was 2, 3 yard runs here and there. I believe they had two, maybe one or two explosive runs in that game. I can't exactly remember, but I think it was close to that. But for the most part, they were not getting tackled behind the line of scrimmage consistently. There were a few that Ohio State got in that one, but overall, they were getting 2, 3 yards. They were moving the ball. And at the end of the day, you just have to be balanced enough so that way you can let Fernando Mendoza not be completely, telegraphing what's going to happen so the defense knows exactly what to do. So
Yep.
we'll see what happens in the Indiana and Alabama game on New Year's Day. No time release for that yet. FanDuel did have the odds set at -6.5 for that one in favor of Indiana. In
It'll
that
be 5 Eastern, I think. That's when the Rose Bowl,
Okay.
I think, is typically played.
Okay, that's right. Thank you for that. I totally forgot about Rose Bowl. I don't know how I forgot about that. So, all
Or
right,
it's 4. Sorry, I think it's 12-4-8. Like I think the
12-4. That would make sense.
yeah.
So, all right, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please do like, subscribe, comment, do all that good stuff for us, and we'll see you next time on the Big Ten Huddle. Have a good one. See you next time.